Hello, I'm Dan Bardell.
And I'm Sam Hurst.
And we're here for Series 3 of Football and Me at the home of English football, St George's Park. And Sam, this year we're going bigger and better than ever.
We are indeed, and today's episode is all about grassroots football. We are going to be joined by 4 guests to talk all about that very shortly. But first, Football and Me is a series that showcases the great examples of equality, diversity and inclusion in the beautiful game that we all love, with real people, real stories and real conversation. Right then, so let's kick off today's episode by firstly introducing you to our wonderful guests. I will leave it to you guys to introduce yourselves.
Hiya Sam, hiya Dan. My name's Paul Kirton. I'm here today from Team Grassroots.
Hi Sam, hi Dan. My name is Feiruz and I'm here as a referee in the Grassroots game.
Hi Sam and Dan, I'm Adam Flint from Cotgrave Football Club in Nottingham.
Good morning, my name's Ben Rosser. I'm the CEO of the Pythian Club in Nottingham.
So as you can see, we've asked you guys to bring in something that means something really important to you when it comes to the grassroots game. We're going to come to that a little bit later on. But first, I wanted to point this question to Paul with you to start with. I just want to know, in terms of when was the first time that you were introduced to the grassroots game? And just tell me a little bit about how that has led to you being where you are now.
So I was introduced to the grassroots game at a very, very young age. I was a young player, and I had a really good role model when I was a young player. When I started to play football, it was very different to what it was today. We didn't really have anything, and the guy who helped me start playing football, he's still my role model now. So that arch from a child player all the way to a coach myself, now coaching children, I would probably say it was pretty much because of that guy at the time. I'll give him a little shout out. He's called Pythian. He instilled a love in the sport for me then that I still have now, and I try to instill that love.
Feiruz, what does the phrase grassroots mean to you?
Coming to this country at the age of 10 from Kenya, just seeing how people took football seriously, because my first club was Oldham. One of my friends at school in year 6, she sort of introduced me to grassroots football, because I was like seeing how every time she'd go and play and I'd be like, oh, where do you go? So I made sure my dad got the contact details and he took me down to play in, and since then I've not looked back really.
Adam, you are vice chair of a local football club, and Ben, obviously you run the Python Club. You get to see the direct impacts of grassroots football on young people within your community. Just tell us a little bit about what you see working in your roles.
So vice chair of Cotgrave, one of the items I brought with me, which we'll touch on later, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, whether you're rich or poor, you put the badge on like any club and you're part of that team. Getting involved into football with the grassroots, it normally starts like everybody else. Can you just? Yes. Before you know it, you've got a training top. You've then got a coaching badge. You've then got the stresses and strains, and then you start getting on the committees. It is a full-time job, grassroots. But it's also enjoyable, which is why we have so many people that are volunteering their time to come and get in. For me, it's more of the inclusion. Lots of different backgrounds, all being one.
Ben, just to follow up on that, I guess your work is directly trying to empower young people to make a difference in their life. How have you seen grassroots football do that for them?
I've seen grassroots football work amazingly when it comes to bringing our communities together. Inner city areas is where I'm working at the moment when it comes to the Python Club, and I'm seeing young people, communities coming together through football and through sport. Grassroots football, just like it did for me when I was growing up in inner city London back in the early 80s, it brought a sense of togetherness. I had a sense of belonging, and I enjoyed obviously playing football, and I'm seeing that amongst our young people in Nottingham.
So 4 amazing guests. Let's get to it's a bit like a show and tell really. We've asked everyone to bring something that means a lot to them with their grassroots careers with them today. Ben, we'll start with you. What is it you've brought with you today?
Today I bought a plaque that we were actually honoured to receive from the NET Trams in Nottingham. It's actually a tram that's named after the Python Club in Nottingham. And what we always say is any individual, young person, older person that gets on that tram, it's about positive vibes. The Python Club are trying to promote unity in our community through positivity. And we were honoured to receive this tram naming of the Python Club. I think we received over 30,000 votes. So we're really grateful to the people of Nottingham for this true honour.
So for mine is a picture of our adult presentation from a couple of weeks ago. We've got a mix here of 18-year-olds to 23-year-olds. We've got our development team, we have our reserve team, we have our adult first team, we have our veterans team, we have our ladies team. Lots of energy in the picture. It just makes everyone feel part of the club, as I mentioned earlier. So this is the thing why I get involved with the club and football.
Feiruz, what have you brought with you today?
I've got here my most recent Grassroots Referee of the Year. I'm in my 2nd season and being part of like all the leagues up north. They've all voted for me, the leagues, the teams, mentioning me to the FA, and obviously my commitment and dedication to refereeing and trying to inspire as many young girls from the Bain community to see if I can win this award, why can't they? And hopefully one day there'll be more female referees.
Paul, can we see yours?
You definitely can. And I've brought this, it's a tiny shirt, as you can probably see, it's a tiny shirt, and it's my daughter's shirt. And the reason I wanted to bring that is because it's actually a way of life, grassroots football, and it's my way of life, and I couldn't operate or function in my way of life without grassroots football, because the time that I get with my daughter, my family, the people that I love the most and the people that I absolutely love spending time with is pretty much because of grassroots football and what it gives to me. I don't think I could actually give you an object more important than my daughter's shirt. It's so important to me, that one.
In terms of when you first started out in your roles, what were you seeing that needed to be done at the time? What was your kind of push for change when you guys first started your work within grassroots football?
The reason that I set up the organisation that I now run is because there wasn't an independent voice for the people, and lots of people were saying things along the lines of, well, there should be, or somebody should do something about that. And instead of being another person who said somebody should do something about that, any problem that I came to, I kind of fixed. And then I passed those solutions on to the next person, whether that be a coach, a referee, etc. Just wanting to help others, be it the opportunity to play, be it the opportunity to coach, etc. That was kind of my motivation.
And growing up, obviously, growing up in grassroots football around in UK and even in South Africa, I saw it was kind of predominantly boys that are playing. And it's really, really good to see now that there's much more different abilities and different groups that get involved in grassroots football. We at Pythian Club are very much empowering when it comes to disability groups, females. The statistics and the facts were quite startling some years ago, but I'm really pleased to see now that that's really been addressed, and girls, people with disabilities are being able to shine on great platforms because they know that football, especially grassroots football, is for them. And we welcome all different individuals from different backgrounds into the Pythian Club, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
Feiruz, just on that point, as a woman within grassroots football, as a player and a referee, do you feel that too? Do you feel like there has been a growth since you've been involved?
Yeah, 100%, and especially with the women's game, it's evolved so much. In the recent 19-20 season, they introduced the first ever referee promotional pathway, so they separated us from the men, so we've got a faster trackway to get to the professional game. I never thought I could be a referee, but then with the recent changes, seeing how many female officials there actually is, it just goes to show that I can be one of them, hence why I started it, and since then I've not looked back.
So Adam, I want to talk a little bit more about what it is like in the day-to-day running of a grassroots football club.
It's a role that's underestimated. So as vice chair, you have a title, but you get involved in everything, whether it's from a Saturday, I'm picking the dirty kit up after the game, whether we're picking rubbish up, whether we're having committee meetings. Funding is a difficult one for the club. Many clubs in our area have bars and income. At Cotgrave we don't, so we have to think outside the box and try and look at different ways of getting funding in there. So yeah, we look at the sponsorship, the commercial side of it, go with the flow and just see which way the wind blows you, whether you're dealing with issues or the positive side of more so getting a girls team or 3 girls teams launched this year. It's been fantastic to see the 6-year-olds engaged, the excitement, and also the excitement but bubbles over to the parents wanting to get involved as well.
Within football clubs, a lot of people aren't getting paid for what they do. A lot of it is on a voluntary basis. Ben, with the work that you do with the Pythian Club, it's obviously a lot of passion that makes people get involved and help out where they can. Is the way that the Pythian Club's ran really dependent on the people that are passionate about what they're doing and their love for it?
I'm very fortunate at the Pythian Club to have a great team of people behind me who give up their time to support. And I've heard about this great man. He's been very humble to himself. In Nottingham, this gentleman here is doing some amazing work at Cotgrave. At the Pythian Club, we have to work tirelessly to support our young people. Some of the issues that they're facing requires us to work together, and it requires people to give up their time. And we're really, really grateful to the people that have done that to make what we're doing a success. There's a lot more work to be done, and people like this individual next to me, we're following in his footsteps. So massive thank you to you for what you do.
You're working with young people that need help. You work with some disadvantaged young people, some people that may be on the wrong path. Just go into a little bit more detail about the kind of people that you are working with and what your work is doing to change their lives.
We're working with a lot of young people that from disadvantaged groups, disadvantaged areas, where sometimes their aspirations and morale is quite low. Especially now with the cost of living crisis and after COVID, people are struggling with their mental health and depression and well-being. The Pythian Club are there to pick these young people up and let them know that we believe in them. Let them know that they may have made mistakes in the past, but we're there to support them moving forward, because these are the kind of young people that have been let down time and time again. And it's these young people that are inspirations to the community. Their families and these individuals can do great things, and we believe in them. And the Pythian Club, as long as we're running, and other great organisations as well across the city and the country are there, these young people will never be forgotten.
It's a two-way street as well, isn't it? Because you're having to get the trust of the children, but I guess in some instances as well, you're also having to get the trust of the parents. So I guess it's hard.
It's working with the families to understand that the Pythian Club there are not just obviously just for the individual. We want to support the families, and it comes in time. The Pythian Club are really proud that after 10 years we've built up a great rapport with the community. But as we've seen, there's a lot more work to be done, and we're up for the challenge.
Paul, I think I want to come to you on this one. Obviously, we've heard so many challenges that grassroots clubs are facing, that community groups are facing there when it comes to funding, when it comes to mental health. As yourself running an organisation that is there to support grassroots clubs and be a helping hand on it, what are the next steps being taken to help improve these challenges?
The first thing I will say is if you look at grassroots football as an industry, it would be the biggest industry in the country. People like these guys, the volunteers, if overnight the volunteers stopped and the passion stopped, football would grind to a halt. We wouldn't have a Harry Kane, because Harry Kane had that inspirational person that Ben's saying there right at the start of his career, playing in a grassroots club at a grassroots league and pushing them on. And without these role models and without these volunteers and the passion, if that ground to a halt tonight, football as we know it would change completely. Grassroots football's in a good space right now. It's probably one of the most inclusive sports in the world, let's be honest. And from the very first kick to the very last kick and every single kick in between, if you're playing for the smile rather than a pound, you're playing grassroots football. We want that to be an open door policy for everybody, no matter what you look like, no matter who you pray to, etc., etc. The Community Practice Ambassador Programme is an ideal opportunity where football is working hand in hand with the community and saying, we want you, no matter where you are in the country. If you don't think football's for you, you're wrong. There's the olive branch, you know. And there's so many Bens in the country, there's so many Adams in the country, there's so many people in clubs that are literally that heartbeat of your community. Because let's be honest, guys, we've went through austerity cuts, we've had an energy crisis, we've had a cost of living crisis, all compounded by the pandemic. But your football clubs, your community clubs are bigger and stronger than they've ever been. So it clearly means that that last heartbeat of your community is your football clubs, and continuity and stability is absolutely key. You need to know that the people at your football club are going to be there for you now. They're going to be there for you if you're down, and we want you to be there for the clubs when you're on your up, you know. So there's so many things to be positive about, and there's so many things that are happening. Sometimes I think information's the key thing, and giving people access to the information is so crucial. Especially at times like this, because you're right, sometimes they aren't knocking on Ben's door and saying, can I join your club? So it's how can we be proactive? And the Community Practice Programme, the EDI Ambassador Programme, it's a great example of something that's positive, it's forward thinking and it's proactive.
Yeah, Feiruz, with the refereeing, I wouldn't imagine it's a stereotypical thing that people would think even to get involved in. So when we talk about like information, how important is raising awareness of the refereeing programmes and what's out there?
Yeah. And most people at the start initially they get involved because of the money, because as he said, most of the grassroots coaches, secretaries, all of them, they're all volunteers. But as a grassroots referee, you're the only one that sort of gets paid. It's down to you to sort of do a good job and give credible decisions. So trying to get more younger referees up and coming, but then again, the support available isn't there. But now the FA, they're trying to work on it, having development groups in the core counties. Me being part of this ETP programme run by the FA, trying to develop more women's referees, trying to get them into the professional game, and also just being part of the female development group up north, trying to get a community together, people, like-minded people that have a passion for refereeing and want to take it further.
Just talk us through some of your personal experiences. Have you been hit with, have you had any abuse doing it, being a woman coming up? Have you faced any adversity when you're doing your job?
Well, you'd be surprised, being a female. So my first game in the men's game, turn up, they're like, is she a ref? And I'm like, yes, lads, I'm the ref. So straight away they're thinking, oh, she's not going to be great, she's not going to be moving around. But instantly, after I finished, best ref we've had. And I was like, thank you, lads. There's still that, obviously, perspective that, oh, you're a woman, you should be just on the line. But no, I want to hopefully one day make it and become a professional referee and be refereeing in Wembley and doing the Super League matches.
It's really important when it comes to the professional game that the players act responsibly and appropriately, and it's really good that they are listening to what we're saying and what the FA is saying in regards to behaviour and conduct towards referees and how you should act in regards to your behaviour on the pitch. Because as we all know, at Grassroots football, we're looking up to the programme. These young players are looking up to the programme, how players are responding, how fans are interacting. And it's really important that we continue working together, learning and listening and improving, which will hopefully improve grassroots football behaviour and especially the conduct towards referees in the future.
I'm really interested to know, because Adam, you said that Cotgrave have just started up, was it an under-7s?
Under-7s, under-12s, and we have a third age group that started just after Christmas. So
Right, of women and girls teams,
just
girls
yeah.
teams.
So Cotgrave is a club we've predominantly always been boys, male, mixed teams at the younger age groups. We were approached by a couple of volunteers, coaches now, to try and push it. So we literally had an open session. We had no idea what to expect, and it was from our chairman, can you just go down and support? You've done your badges, just go and give them a hand. And the gates opened, and it was just a flood of girls, varying ages from 5 up to 13. And it was the moment of, wow, it's kind of changing that mindset now for the club as well. It's great that we are getting female coaches come through to run the team. So yeah, it's been a fantastic push by the club, which was noticed by BBC Radio Nottingham, who also did an article on us. So,
you know, we've got 3 people here who work within clubs, and obviously Feiruz, you're refereeing and playing yourself. If I was to put it out there and say to you, right, we've gone through some of the issues that you're facing and the challenges, and you need to give me something, you need to give me a list that is what you need to fix those. What is it that grassroots clubs need at the moment to be able to do what they want to do?
I've got a bit of a cheat code answer for you on that, because we toured the country last year asking everybody that exact question. We did conversation with a game which was, we covered every corner of England, and the same 3 things happened time and time and time again. Facilities, Adam's mentioned it, volunteers. It's getting more and more difficult to attract volunteers. So if you have got, for example, you know, the floodgates open and you've got 40 players wanting a team, but only 2 volunteers, there's going to be some disappointed players, which, and I'm sure from a club's perspective, when I see this happen, it absolutely breaks my heart to have players there who are keen, willing, want to play, but there's nobody will step forward to take that team on. Funding and facilities can sometimes go hand in hand, because one person might say, I want facilities, the other person might say funding, but they want the funding for the facilities. And how can we attract and also retain volunteers? Because sometimes the retention of volunteers is as important as the recruitment of volunteers, because if you've got somebody like Adam at your club who's the can you just guy, he'll probably not know what his job list is, because it's everything.
For what we've seen as well, working in the communities that we're working in, young people just cannot afford some of the things like football boots, attending subs each month, having to pay for their registration and subs, etc. So they've had to make difficult choices, some of the families. You know, does my son or daughter get involved in an organised sports session where there's potentially money to be paid out, or some of the stuff that they need to pay for the household? These are the real big choices that people and families that I'm working with have to make. That's why we're really grateful to the FA Football Foundation, who have helped us with a bit of sponsorship and funding to allow some of these young people who wouldn't be able to access football, because that's truly some of the issues that they're facing, able to access it through that support, through funding. But like I said, some of the young people that we're working with sometimes really struggle with some of the basics.
And just touching up with regards to refereeing, especially coming from a Bain community, we need more representation, and I'm hoping I can become a role model for some of the girls that are coming through, because when I attended our EDI group in the county FA, there was about 8 referees there, male and female. 8 within the whole of Greater Manchester. So you're like, where is the representation? So hopefully from them 8, they can inspire more people to sort of take up refereeing.
Feiruz, I was going to ask you, actually, touching on what Ben just said. When you were working your way up the ranks, when you started playing, is some of what these guys are saying things that you would have experienced in your personal life? Just talk us through kind of what you went through. Was there a moment where you thought maybe I'm not going to play football because there was things in the way?
One of the main things was getting to games, because my dad, he's the only one that used to work. Bless him, like he'd had to give up not going to work in order to take me to training, miss up on overtime, obviously because he was the only provider of the family. So just that commitment to try and get there, because most of the times I would have to ask for lifts from my friend who'd come and pick me up. And luckily though, I didn't struggle with regards to equipment and stuff like that. They would still make sure that I had the football boots, the shin pads, the socks and the kit to get there so I can look presentable and play the part.
Has anyone else had to make any difficult choices or difficult decisions within their role where they've had to give something up or something's had to fall by the wayside?
I think from my perspective, you kind of, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I know the majority of volunteers in grassroots football are related to this. It tends to be the things that you shouldn't give up is what you give up. So for example, you work, so you leave work early or you don't have that overtime because I've got training tonight.
Absolutely. If you want to make a difference, as all these individuals have done amazingly, it requires a lot of extra work sometimes, extra hours, and really putting obviously your own time into it and others as well. So hats off to all the volunteers across the country that really dedicate and give up a lot to help young people, especially succeed in grassroots football.
We kind of just made the point that a lot of what we see in grassroots football is built off the back of passion and sacrifice. Do you guys think that you would like to see a world where grassroots football didn't have to have all this sacrifice to do it, or do you think that's what keeps it going? Do you think that's what it is that keeps the wheel turning?
I think it keeps it going. As weird as that answer might be, it's the plate spinning, it's the balancers, it's that juggling. I think if it was too plain sailing, it would probably be boring. As weird as that is sounding, it can sometimes feel like you're in a circus. It's probably the wrong answer, but if it was straight and we know exactly what we're doing, there was no hurdles or obstacles, you'd probably not get people enjoying it as much.
You don't do it because you have to, you do it because you desperately want to. And there's a fundamental difference when you do something because you want to, because you know that actually you're impacting your community, you're impacting on the next generation. I'm never negatively concerned about the future of grassroots football because it's in the best hands. It's in the hands of the people who are doing it for the right reasons, because they want to, and they want to do it to make that positive impact.
From Cotgrave, we renovated our changing rooms and snack bar last year. We struggled with funding, as we've touched on. We had the idea of, let's push it. We gave up weekends, all bank holidays, because we were doing it. It's not paid. If you said to me, go and work on a bank holiday, what am I going to get for it? Where it's an addiction where you want to be involved. It's the passion. Myself, the girls team that I'm involved in, I don't have a daughter playing in the team, but I'm involved with it still.
We waited 15 years at my club for a Portaloo, and when it came, everybody, the coaches, the players, the secretary, the parents, stood around looking at it as if it was the Ark of the Covenant. That's grassroots football for you in a nutshell, you know.
And we are all so grateful, though. It really makes a massive difference that the local FAs and the national FAs, though, are also really behind grassroots football and awarding some amazing characters with great accolades to really keep pushing that drive forward. Because yes, we do it selflessly and we want to do it for our young people and our kids. But it's always nice to sometimes get an accolade, a little award, just to show, like you said, a little thank you for the great work that these individuals are doing. So hats off to everybody.
What Feiruz has kind of spoken about her own ambitions. Have any of you got any ambitions within what you're doing at the moment?
For us, I've mentioned we struggle with facilities, or pitch availability. Our aim, we are looking at how can we get a 4G pitch to suit the community. Again, it's not just a club. If we can get one, it's very difficult. It's still very early stages of how can we even try and get the funding or the backing to get it. Where we're thinking, if we can, what can we do in the day to utilise it for the community? You walk around Cotgrave, you will not go through Cotgrave without seeing anyone, not with a kit on, training top, hoodie, caps. It's a football, we're in the heart of the village. We're trying to, that is our ambition, to try and get there. We might not get there at all, but we've got to have a vision to push the club forward. We want to get more teams. For us, it'd be ideal. We get a 4G pitch. We can play more games. We've touched on the weather. It keeps going up and down over the winter, which calling games off. The pitches we have are fantastic at Cotgrave, so hats off to Paul, Lee and the others for doing that. But if we can get our ambition is to get one, at least start looking to get one. What is the attraction to the club? It was the people. There wasn't, the facilities weren't great. So we're going through that stage now. We're being noticed in the right ways, but we want to keep progressing it. We want to get a stand. The lads and the girls, the ladies as well, and the younger children coming through, they can see that we're improving the facilities. A pitch with fencing, dugouts, floodlights. We've now got speakers, a sound system outside. For the kids coming through, and also for the talented ones where they often get poached, we want them to stay for the reason of look at what you can get. Try and keep that community feeling there.
I like this. Ben, for you, with everything that you've done so far, what would you say you're most proudest of, and what do you want to achieve in the next few years?
The proudest moment for the Pythian club was we were obviously National Project Award winners as well in 2018, and we went down to Wembley, and that was amazing. But believe it or not, one of the proudest moments was on the Nottinghamshire FA Awards, where I didn't attend, my team all attended. And it was a really special moment to see the whole team of Pythian Club, the volunteers, the staff, the coaches, attending the Nottinghamshire Awards and picking up this accolade. That was a very proud moment for us as a club. And then just to see the continuation of the work that we're doing in actual communities, massive, massive for us. Because these awards, as I said, are really nice to have. But the main thing for us, having children ourselves, is to see young people developing, young people having fun and mixing together with all different types of categories and different types of groups. Long may that continue, and it's to the great work of some of these individuals here today.
Feiruz, for you, have you got a highlight of what you've been doing so far?
So
and
one
kind
of
what
my
you wanna
favourite
see?
highlights so far has been playing at Wembley. But now, being a referee, I'd like to be a match official at Wembley and inspire the up-and-coming generation to take up refereeing. I'm following the footsteps of Addy, who's the Super League referee, Lauren, and Leonie, who's just recently been promoted to the Super League as an assistant. So,
Well, when you get there, let us know and we'll all come and watch.
Paul, except for speaking to us today, what's your highlight?
Well, definitely speaking to you today, Dan, was one of my highlights. You know, as you know, it's such a hard question to answer because I've been involved in grassroots football for like 2 decades in so many different roles. I suppose I would have to probably come back to this. Like my involvement in grassroots football predominantly is from my heart. And my heart is my family, and my family is my club, and my club is my world. And I think like being part of something, and that's what's so beautiful about football. You see the England team at the minute, win, lose or draw, they'll unite a nation, and grassroots football unites communities. And I think like seeing those communities unite, and me being part of my little community as well, that's probably my proudest moment to see that transition from me being a coach, instilling a love to somebody else, and seeing that little seed grow, I suppose. I know that's not one specific moment, but it's kind of that's what I'm proud of.
It's great to see so many people passionate and proud about something, and speak to people that are so passionate and proud, isn't it?
100%, and it feels like we've spoken about so many ups and downs, but it only seems like it's going onwards and upwards now for the grassroots community and in the footballing world. So thank you, all 4 of you, for joining us today. It's been brilliant to chat to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.